gets nothing effect. Has that one taken away by Troy Hellman. It seems like this could be.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League recap, a talk show focused on the Overwatch League. I am BlazzinBob, and today I am joined by trusty companion Mel. What's going on, Mel?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, that didn't sound very exciting.
Oh, sorry, I am very excited. It was a good week.
I was about to say. Oh yeah, it was a crazy week. It was an interesting start. We're going to talk about our impressions of week 5. We're going to talk news. We're going to talk what players and coaches thought of bans. We're going to talk about the matches, and we're going to talk about the bans next week and give our predictions for those. So, without further ado, let's jump in. We always like to start the show out by thanking our recap producer, Shazir. Thank you so much for your support.
Woo-hoo.
And thanks to everybody who listens to the show. That is the biggest thing. So we definitely appreciate you guys keeping us going. And definitely I don't know where I was going with that. I'm kind of a little bit I just woke up from a nap, so I'm trying to bring it all
Hanging in there.
together, yeah. But let's just go ahead and jump right in, Mel. Start out with the week 5 impressions.
Well, we're back in Washington, which I feel like it's just weird because we haven't had the other homestands in the other divisions, so it's just kind of weird to be back in Washington.
Yeah, it is a little
But
weird.
I mean, Washington puts on a good event though, so I think overall it was good. We talked about noticing that the signs were a little more prominent after the chaos in Houston.
Yeah,
So
I'm guessing they had I don't know, you said something about maybe they have it roped off or something? And, like, kinda
yeah,
check the signs as they go, or
I don't know that they did. I didn't see as many crazy signs, but you could see people just walking by too. So I don't know. It's slightly distracting, I will say.
it is definitely it's not as distracting as it was in Houston, where they were just right there, and there
Right.
were 75 of them. So, I don't know,
Mm,
like, I didn't see anybody going up to anybody, but maybe someone was off screen, or maybe just Washington people are just nicer people.
That's definitely not the case.
Maybe Washington, D.C. people are less political because they have to deal with politics constantly, every day, all over the place. I don't know. Just,
Fair enough.
just
Maybe.
throwing it out there. But these signs were pretty good. Like, I love the signs, the good ones, the bad ones. I just want them all to pertain to Overwatch. That's
Yeah,
basically where I'm at. It also doesn't bother me if they don't pertain to Overwatch. I mean, it can only hurt me if I let it bother me, you know what I mean?
true, Bob. True.
Yep,
Way to be the bigger man.
yep. Words are just words. So, what else though? The signs, like, not like the signs were the whatever. It's kind of like a
I mean, just of the event and it was chaos because of hero pools. It was really cool, but I mean, not getting into anything else, I just feel like it was good to see that that Washington's second homestand was still just as packed as their first one.
yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, okay. You're not hitting on what I was wanting to hit on.
Okay, well then just say it.
It's something uh that one of my favorite content creators says, and no, it was a shit show. The tech difficulties that we had spent
Oh
slow
yeah.
time getting away from, all of a sudden, we're all back in full force. Went completely blank multiple times, and like you were saying when we were watching it, this was okay the first couple weeks, but it's getting like at this point, it's just not acceptable. And I've just kept giving the benefit of the doubt, the benefit of the doubt. And as they got better, I was like, okay. But to jump back so far with that many tech difficulties kind of just pissed me off.
Yeah, I just don't know what's happening. I don't know who's in charge of this and who is not doing their job, but to have a black screen for that long, and it's something on the YouTube side because if you go to MLG.com when it goes black, it's still streaming there.
Yep.
So who is it? Is it somebody different in charge of the YouTube stream versus the MLG stream?
Yeah, and we don't know the tech behind it. To be awesome to talk to. If anybody knows the people that do the tech, we would love to talk to them, get a quote or two from 'em, maybe even have them on the show because I'm sure it's very difficult. But what it's got to be something on the YouTube side, and my guess is, having a background in IT is the only way to fix it once it bugs out on that side is to stop the stream entirely and restart it. Now that's a complete guess and speculation, but it's something that happens quite often in IT. And so if they're doing it to multiple different streams, if one stream somehow the encoding jacks up, I would assume you'd have to restart everything for it to come back up on that one part of it.
I don't know. It's not like they restarted though and it's a different stream. It's the same stream. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't come up as a different stream. I don't know. Is That's above my head. I don't get paid a lot of money to do that. Somebody does. And they should not get paid as much money because it's really annoying. And the cutoffs came back where they cut off Zoe again. Please stop that. I don't want to see the countdown screen
The
if I can
crunch time
hear
screen.
Hex talk or something. Like, come on.
I mean, she'd be in mid sentence. Hex was in mid sentence one time, and it just went to crunch time and came back, and then just cut them completely off. And so there's some sort of disconnect there. There's also I don't understand. Like I don't know how they're handling the the move over to the desk. I don't know how that's like where is the stream actually streaming from, or are they just taking over the stream from the other location, or is the actual desk coming back to the homestand location via some sort of live feed back to them. So therefore, maybe there's a delay on it that's causing problems with their transitions. Because we didn't have any of these problems end of season two uh, when they were in the locations, and really didn't have them at the home stands either. But I assume they were packing all of that stuff up and taking it with them, the stuff they
Yeah, they
use
were in the
normally.
locations at the homestands too last season. The desk was. But my issue is yes, I expected this the first couple weeks for there to be some issues, but we're in week 5 going on week 6 and you can't figure out a transition? Like, what is somebody that's not watching it just like the person that on a timer pushes a button and it goes to a different screen? Like,
Yeah, I feel
there's
like there
gotta be a
should
better way
be.
to do that.
Yeah, there should be a room just like when they had it there. There should be a room of producers, and they're like sitting there running it and saying, "Okay, 3, 2, 1, go." Just like you would see on a actual TV, show.
Right. Well, all I can think is that they're on a timer and maybe the people on the desk just didn't go overtime as often in the last couple of weeks and maybe they did this week. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's like a set time, but I don't see an issue with pushing that time 3 seconds to go to a waiting screen.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it only matters in the TV world that you cut people off if you have paid for commercial time that you have to legally put on.
Right. Or if you're going back to the match that's getting ready to start, right? Like, yeah, that's fine, cut them off. But I swear to God, stop cutting them off to take me to a stupid screen.
Yeah, and I wanna watch it on YouTube because I like watching it on the big TV. I don't wanna watch it
Right.
on, I guess I could cast it from MLG from Chrome, but that's a pain. I like using my controller and everything else, so
Right.
I don't know. That's something I would like to to get a handle on. But I mean, really, the rest of the impressions is kind of goes into hero pools. So do we want to start that talk?
Let's do it.
Hey, Loki in chat, thank you for the sub. 19 months. You are the man. Mel.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
oh,
want me to start?
well, I kind of I was thinking you were, but never mind. I'll just go ahead and do the intro. For some reason, we got our lines crossed there. So, what the pros think of hero pools? So, ESPN put out an article that talked to a bunch of different coaches and players. Uh, they talked to Ellie Vogt from the Washington Justice. They talked to Corey. They talked to Kooky, coach for the Mayhem, and then Fate, Florida Mayhem. They talked to Yea, Florida Mayhem GM. Talked to Logix. Talked to Aid. They talked to Harsha, the head coach of the Outlaws. They talked to Dream, other Outlaws coach. They talked to Muffin, Minnie, Soon, Christopher, and you.
Lots of people,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. You basically saw a couple different points. The first one that I saw is lots of people mentioned the 2 week bans rather than having just one week. And this is something that I mentioned the very first time we talked about this when they first announced bans. When we first talked about it on Al Recap, I said I feel like it should be 2 weeks, and I just felt that way because I felt that it wasn't a preparation thing, which it seems the coaches are pushing it. They're pushing the 2 weeks because of a preparation thing, and I'm more on what Soon was saying. Soon wished each team had to play the same amount of games with each ban, and so the reason I had wanted two weeks was basically just to give more teams an opportunity to play that band. Because if you think about, all the different bye weeks, it wasn't perfect, but I just thought that we'd get to see more teams with those bands. At the same time, I also didn't think about it was going to be 10% either. So I just at that point thought it was going to ban the highest played players and didn't really understand that they were gonna be the 10% players, because that really opens it up to a lot of different heroes getting banned. So therefore,
To be fair,
I
they're
don't
not
know.
playing banning players, they're only banning
Yep.
heroes. No, but I agree with Soon. I think it is hard, and I think his main point was that it's difficult when you're playing 2 matches and you have 2 sets of map pools, right? So, like, in essence, you could play 8 different maps with a different hero pool and have to prepare differently for those different maps, plus have to prepare differently for 2 different teams' play styles and anticipate what they're going to play, right? And I think that that's a good point, that it is definitely more unfair for the teams that play 2 matches in a week as opposed to the teams that just play 1. But I think that's just in Overwatch in general. It's unfair for the teams that play
Yeah.
2 versus the teams that play 1.
Yeah, that's
I
been the
think
case the entire time the league's been on, like, with hero bans or not, having to play 2 games is unfair.
right. I think the biggest problem with making it 2 weeks is that you still have an unfair variable of what about teams that don't play the first week? And then they get to see what the meta and what worked, and then they play the second week, right? They have a
Yep.
huge advantage over the teams that played week 1. And then what about the teams that play both weeks? That's great, but what about the teams that only play the first week and they're in the chaos week, right? It's like
Mhm.
if you have 2 weeks, you have like a practice week and a real week, but not every team plays in the practice week and the real week, right? So I think you get the same people annoyed, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think you get the same complaints, and so I don't think that that would necessarily make it any better.
Well, and see, that was what I felt when we first talked hero bans, and then now seeing it in play and seeing that a 10% hero can get banned, I'm not so sure I'm still on that initial thought process that I was when it was first announced. Now seeing it in practice, what you say makes a lot of sense that it would give them that extra week before the meta solidifies, you know?
Right.
And
Right now, whether you're on a buy or not, you have the exact same amount of prep time with the hero bans because you don't know what will be banned. You may know what won't be banned the week you're going to play next week, and you can play things off of that. But I mean, that's great until you find out that one of the people that was in one of the heroes in your meta is now off, you know?
yeah, yeah, and I mean, another thing you got to see now, I saw a lot of coaches say this is too chaotic every week, and I wanna just say to them, it's only been 1 week. I mean, tell me that after 10, okay? Like, that's
Right.
like, I want you to give it a little bit more of a, chance than that. I understand or at least say, "I think this is going to be way too chaotic." Not, just an arbitrary statement, "This is way too chaotic." And they could have been misquoted in the article, it's possible that within the talking that they were implying what they thought it was going to be rather but
Right.
it came off as, "This is way too chaotic," and it's like, "It's only been a week," but I understand that people get misquoted all the time, and you have to put the whole conversation into context. That's why I like doing podcasts and not writing articles, you know what I mean?
Well, I think too, when you look at it, the coaches complained about turnaround time and not having any days off and things like that. And I agree that yes, but let's take it back a step and think this was the first week of hero pools being implemented. And yeah, it was chaos for you, I'm sure. You had 4 days to prep your team on what to do, right? But it's not always going to be that chaotic. You have a lot more bye weeks this season than you've ever had before, so you will have time off and it's not like you can really hardcore prep during those bye weeks because you don't know what the hero bands are going to be. So you can theory craft and things like that, but you're not going to hardcore prep for a strategy that you may or may not be able to play. And I think
Yeah,
as time goes on and more heroes get banned and more compositions get out there, you'll kind of know based on what heroes are banned what you're going to play. It's not always going to be this just like, oh crap, what do we do
yeah, you
now
you
type
you
of
were just you
mentality.
were just getting at what I was gonna hit. Like, I do feel really bad for the coaches at the moment, but as
Right.
time goes on, hopefully those staffs are keeping spreadsheets and, well, easy to look up documentation of what bans happen each week, and then being able to go back real quickly and look at what they did or what other teams that were successful did, and you should be able, as the weeks go on, to have more and more, times where you could grab from the old playbook, and that's where
Right.
I think it'll start getting easier and easier. But right now, I do feel for the coaches. It is rough, and I am sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing I can say. I'm not gonna say "suck it up," nothing like that. Like, it's gonna be tough, and my heart goes out to you because that is one tough job, and you're almost all the players, get all of the love and affection from fans and coaches just kinda get dumped on, and so I definitely understand where you're coming from. I did, I liked, uh, what the coach for, you know, uh, the Philadelphia Fusion said, Christopher. He's just like, he does really think that the best teams are going to end up on top, and I think that's true too. I think that's what I hated about last year is that I know Vancouver was a really good team, but I don't think that they were the best team in the league. I think they were the best GOATS team, and it got real boring stage 2, and
Well,
I
it's
don't
just
want that to happen again.
you knew each week there was less upsets, right? And I'm not saying that upsets are a good thing, but they're a part of reality, right? Like you don't have a sport, even an esport, that these same teams should win all the time. It's not the what's the point of the other teams playing, right? And I feel like that's what we got. But I do feel like there was a couple people that did say positive things about the hero pools, and Corey
Definitely.
was one of them. He said it was a breath of fresh air, and I think he one statement he made was it starts to dig deeper inside of how well the players know the game, as opposed to how well they're
Which
playing on a specific meta,
which
which
is
is
what
great.
so many of us have said, like, you get players and you actually teach them what counters what, why you do this and this sit you teach them the why instead of the
Right,
how. And I
right.
think that grows you a better player. That grows you or gets you closer to a Surefour type of player, someone who's a coach on the, in the game. And
And not everybody can be that, and we understand that,
true.
but there's 6 players on the mic, and as long as you've got 1 or 2 that can be that leader, then the others can follow them during the game, right? But you need to groom 1 or 2 people on your team to understand that and to know that, "Okay, guys, I know we practice this, but it's time to switch it up." And somebody said, I forget who it was, but it makes it nice that you don't have to beat your head against the wall just sticking to this same meta because you've practiced it, because it doesn't matter. You're not going to play it next week anyways, right? So sticking to it and trying to make it work is only going to help you in that one game.
Yeah, and see, I think that being smart about the game is such a boon, and if you could teach these kids, I mean, understanding the game and how it works and what counters what, and just being able to outthink, like, that's how this boomer got to masters. Like, there's no way I would get to that type of rank in any, like, mechanical shooter game because I'm older, like, I just don't have that reaction time, so the only reason is because I was able to play tank and able to outthink what the, other people are doing, and I think if you teach these kids over or these men, sorry, over time, there's gonna be better for the league, it's gonna be better for everybody, it's gonna make the game more fun for them too, because it's gonna make it less grindy. I mean, just imagine if Houston had to practice goats again this week, and they'd been doing it. Nothing ever changed since season 2, and just imagine how their frowns would be, and how much the other teams would keep leveling up,
Right,
and you just never catch up. And I
right.
th I think what we're seeing now is exciting. I thought this week of Overwatch was fan freaking tastic.
Right, and I heard a lot of people say things like, "Yeah, it's great for the viewers, it makes it a more fun and exciting game, but it kills the quality of the games," and I disagree completely. I think that, yes, did we see a little sloppier gameplay this week? Probably. It's the first week of hero bans, give them a break, right? I think it will get back to where we are seeing the best teams play their best Overwatch. It's just going to be different Overwatch every week. And I think that that's exciting, not just for us as viewers. I think it's exciting for the players. Have you seen so many people being so excited to get back on, Zenyatta and to get back on Tracer and play Soldier 76 in the Overwatch League, right? Like these are things that never happened. And you see them smiling, like they're happy. It's fun. It's not monotonous. And I think that we are going to see less burnout because it's fresh and you don't feel so defeated every week, unless you're Boston, then you feel pretty defeated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man. Poor Boston, but
Yeah.
remember, the Patriots made me hate Boston, so I'm sorry, Boston. I don't hate the
Yeah.
people in Boston, I just hate that organization r ruining the NFL for me for so long, but I'm not gonna get on a tirade about that, but, okay, so something else that I saw, and I'm blanking a bit on what it was oh, like, over time, like you and I talked about, like, they'll have stuff in their back pocket, and this week, yes, it wasn't the crispest play of the meta, and we saw that the world didn't want that because that's what GOATS was. GOATS was extremely good team play and less, scrappy, crazy plays. It was just, I mean, it was beautiful. It was beautiful Overwatch, and it was boring to a lot of people, and it even got boring to
Even the
me.
pros,
Yeah, and I mean, I
even the
played it a
pros
lot
didn't want to
on
play it.
ladder too, and yeah, it just it wasn't what we really wanted. It killed some DPS's, entire year, and they just hated them. Like they just hated, going to work. And so I don't know that we need to see that beautiful, beautiful play. And I could make a big argument that dive was just like it was last weekend. The dive was not beautiful team play. It was not the best Overwatch. Oftentimes players carried. And that's exciting. And it's
Right.
fun. And we got to see Tracer play. I mean, what more could you ask for from this first week? It was exciting. We got to see people on Heroes. We got to see Soldier 76 play. I
I
mean,
know.
I
I
think
already said
Soldier
that.
76 played more this week than he played the entirety of seasons 1 and
Oh,
2.
100%. 100%. And I think that it's nice to see teams going towards their own style, right? Like you see a lot of the teams because there's not enough time to practice what they think is the meta or what they know is the meta. You see a lot of teams gravitating towards just what they're strong at. And sometimes it matches up well against a teammate and sometimes it doesn't. And I think that is what Overwatch should be. It shouldn't be let's just go with what everybody else thinks is good. What this does is it forces teams to be creative. Okay? It forces them to be creative because last year there was a lot of teams that could have figured out how to beat GOAT, but they didn't because they didn't want to. They didn't have time to do that, right? Well, this year you have to.
Yep.
So you can't just sit there as a Houston Outlaw and play goats and fail every week. It's not possible. Sorry, you have to win some games.
Yeah, and it's gonna force coaches to either step down from coaching or to really step up their game because I mean, just being I mean, even being nice is to say that half of the league were copycats last year. And it's pretty easy to argue that the majority of the league was copycats, and there were very few innovations done. We got to see an awesome innovation done by the Shanghai Dragons towards the end of stage 3. They actually beat goats, found a way to do it, but I argue that's because they had already found out that 222 was coming, so they thought, "Hey, let's just try weird stuff."
Right. And I think that's the problem is that everybody says that Blizzard should just balance better and we wouldn't need this chaotic ban system. But I don't think that's the case. I think that there are balance changes that they could make, yes, but there are also balance changes that don't need to be made that could be outplayed if you take a second to, not a second, you have to be very analytical about it. And I know it's not easy and it would take time, but this is kind of forcing that type of thought process. It's forcing the fact that, Toronto Defiant can play this dive against Fusion and, come or against Paris, I think. Could they beat Paris maybe?
Uh,
And beat them.
Defiant? Wait.
Yeah, it was like week 1 or 2.
Oh,
It was Paris or Fusion, one of the top
okay.
tier teams, and then they play Houston, who plays it against them, plays it better, right? And they get beat. So, like, I
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
you're
it
talking about Fusion. But they still got beat by Fusion. They just turned that Sombra, the the Doom hack or Hack Doom or whatever it is. They used that on Fusion and almost came back. And then the next
right.
week, the Outlaws just played it better than them.
Yeah. So I just like that it will kind of bring teams together to figure out their style of play. But
Hack Fist, that's it.
yeah, I was gonna correct you. I just didn't didn't want to go there. Um, Another thing I saw, Logic specifically, and a couple other pro players have said things about the owl picks being different than
I did see a lot of
the
that.
ranked picks.
Custer says it
And
on the desk constantly too.
right, and he just said it makes practice difficult, right? Because you can't go into a ranked match and play and practice the hero that you're going to play. And I do get that, but could this somehow lean towards maybe not as much burnout because you're not able to grind on ranked? Like, you've got 4 days to prepare for this. A lot of times, maybe you have more, but you've got 4 days and you've got practice time in those 4 days. So, how healthy is it to go home and grind on ranked after practice time every night? Like, I just feel like that's a little much, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that's been a problem for a long time. But I mean, these guys, lots of them don't want to go out. I mean,
I'm not saying they have to go out. I'm saying play a different video game or watch a Netflix show or hang out. I don't know.
yeah, just
Or
don't.
play a different hero. Just get out of the like
I think it could help with burnout. I do think that I'm, at least 55-45 agreeing with them saying it should be the same for fans too. You know what I mean? Like fans get done, but I mean it would suck though for fans, to be honest. Actually, it would completely kill it for fans cuz fans would play it throughout the week, Monday through, I guess we would
and
get to.
then find out how to play it
Yeah, yeah.
and then it would switch.
'Cause I just remember always, like, wanting to play when new metas came out and we saw someone do something new and be like, "Let's do that tonight," you know? And so you would get to
Right.
do that, like like, Saturday night, Sunday night, but you wouldn't get to do it the whole week.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know where I fall on that yet. I do think
I
it
think
would be helpful for the ones that do wanna grind, but I think you have a good point that burnout is a real thing, and if they're really trying hard, like plus I guess, like, they don't have time to be thinking about the bands that are in ranked because that is too short of a turnaround. I thought maybe it would help them
right.
keep learning about what counters what, but, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that go into that, I think. But I also think that if you ban the same heroes, then you either have to just ban them in GM or you don't affect the lower tiers at all lots of times,
And
right?
there's plenty
Like
of people in GM that aren't even close to a pro,
right.
and
But
it's
I guess what I'm
the
saying
play
is
is
that
so Loki points out in chat, the play is so different on ladder, and
yeah, like how good of practice is it anyways? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean,
And
some of the players that don't even get play time are in the top 20, like, number
yeah,
20 on the ladder. So, how much it's a different play, and it's
for sure.
yeah, and so I just don't know.
I guess when I look at it too, I think, okay, it's different, but it also gives Blizzard more control over ranked and allows them to ban heroes that potentially they're working on changes for, that when they get banned in the Overwatch League, those changes can come back in. You know what I mean? And I think that that is going to be easier for Blizzard to control without the stage breaks than it is to just not to just ban the same heroes and maybe not get the chance to fix a hero that is broken.
Definitely, definitely. Alright, well, I think we've talked about that plenty.
Did
Well,
you just switch the
I
slide?
did just wish I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
God.
Oh,
Man.
man, but, yeah, we need, like, chat to remind me to switch the slide, or I guess chat wouldn't know. I'm sorry. I'm working on it, but what do sorry, I just lost train of thought. Oh, but yeah, we've talked about it enough. We'll talk about it more as weeks go on. More and more stuff will happen. We'll get more a bigger sample size to really give our firm opinions on it. Because right now, I feel anybody that has a firm stance just has not given it enough time yet, and I think that's a disservice to the work that they put in to get the bands going.
Well, can I just end on something? I think all of the players that got to play their heroes that they love really enjoyed it. Like Joan X said, I think having a diverse system can be very positive.
Yeah,
Oh, sure you did,
I
Jonak. You got to play Zen.
and Logix was like, "I really liked playing Tracer." I mean, it
Yeah,
definitely
same with Corey. And, so I think that
there's
the
definitely a
people that
theme
liked it,
there. Yeah.
they enjoyed playing it. But I think, maybe some other heroes are banned. They may not have had the same reaction. So I did what I did like. The main thing, and I'll end it on this. The main thing I did like is that we still saw May, but we saw a manageable amount of May, and we saw a lot more other comps than I think we saw May comps. And that in itself shows that the random hero bans will still change a composition, even if you don't take out that one character that everybody thought was the key and the horrible one that would still get played no matter what. There's a lot of teams that figured out how to win without
Oh,
her.
yeah, and a lot of teams still tried to play the May, and most of them failed horribly.
Right.
I mean, it just was
That was just
not yeah, it
stubbornness.
just was not a good look. I don't know what team coaches will take from that. Maybe they'll take that she's not a must pick even with Ryan returning, but we'll talk about that later. For now, Axiom
Doubtful.
takes a leave of absence from Boston for a medical procedure. Don't know what the procedure is, but we wish you well and hope that you get better. Let's talk about some matches.
But what I wanted to say about that is
Wait,
that
about what?
how about Axiom
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
is that how we've seen fusions playing over Axiom completely, and we were seeing them kind of go back and forth, or maybe playing some double shield and things like that. I think that shows us maybe a little bit of why, and I think we may see more diversity when he comes back. Hopefully,
Yeah. Well,
we'll see.
yeah. I still don't know that you really want to have fusions in at all if it's not Reinhardt, but
Right.
that's just my personal opinion. Games. Is there anything that jumps out at you? I was pretty okay. So let's just go through the Mayhem Defiant 3-1. The Outlaws absolutely stomped the Eternal 3-0. The Justice finally get a win at home against the struggling Boston Uprising 3-1. Fusion gets beat by the team that got dumpstered by Houston 3-2. And then NYXL goes 3-1 against the Justice, and the Rain just continue Boston's sadness and take them out 3-0.
Yes.
And Loki of the chat, thank you for the slide reminder.
That wasn't Loki. That was Mel.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Shiz.
I,
Don't
I'm
thank me.
trying to look fast. I have a lot going on over here, like running the
It's fine.
production
It's fine.
side here. But
Okay,
okay.
so you want to know which game I want to talk about?
Well, first, can we talk about the Mayhem versus Defiant first?
I guess.
What happened?
I mean, Defiant hasn't looked great for the last couple weeks, and I don't know. I feel like Defiant put up a better show a little bit this last week.
Yeah, they really didn't. Like it came out. What did it start? It started 1-0, right? And Defiant looked good on the first map, and then they got reversed. Or no, it came out Mayhem won, then Defiant won, and then Mayhem won too. But I felt Defiant was gonna win against the Mayhem. Like with the current hero bans, like I thought that they could play the hack fist pretty good.
Yeah, I think the Hackfist showed not to be as good when the other team was playing more like Tracer Sombra.
and Torbjorn. Didn't they play
Yeah,
Torb? I
I
can't
don't remember,
I
but
can't remember either, dang it.
I think it's just I don't know. I feel bad for Defiant. I don't know
And
what's happening.
yeah, I did like, come out, they start to look like they're gonna be good, and then stuff just kinda snowballs down, and I just don't know
Yeah.
how to f like, I just don't know how to feel about them specifically, 'cause they've really shown like, I thought that the bans would be perfect for them because Surefour is just, like, really smart about the game, sees the game in a like, a different light than many, and I just don't get why they're struggling so much, but maybe, like, Florida just keeps leveling up. I'm not too sure, but I don't know,
Yeah. Let's go with that.
it's just weird, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Toronto's in a rough spot right now, but I think Mayhem has highlights of brilliance, right? So maybe Mayhem just prepared better and outplayed him.
yeah, I'm not
They,
really sure, and
I mean, and how much can you tell from the first game of the first week of Hero Bands, right? Maybe Mayhem just got lucky and picked a better comp to practice. It's hard to tell the first week of Hero Bands, the first game, not seeing anything.
well, Mayhem came out with the slower strategy that we didn't see work very well for most teams throughout the weekend. Like they came out with that more bunker style, and it's and I don't know, maybe it would have worked better for other people if they had tried that. It's so hard to tell, and
Right,
that's something like next week it won't even matter because it'll be something completely different. So
right.
I'm not really sure what to what to think here. All it leads me to believe is that the Defiant are just really struggling because they should have had these stronger comps.
Yeah. Well, they did win the first match on Busan.
Yeah, they won the first, lost the second, and then
They lost all the next 3, right.
okay, so it was, and you could never really tell from Control. It's hard.
Yeah, I feel like we don't ever know after map 1 who's going to win it. There's often times where they take map 1 and then just bomb out, but we'll see.
So the next match that happened was the Outlaws and the Eternal, and I did pick the Outlaws to win, but I was like a
I don't think you did.
55. You even went back in the podcast and found it.
I don't think so.
Because you said you didn't think so during the game or after the game, and then you literally went back, listened to the podcast. You're like, you did say that, huh?
I think that was last week when we were talking to Labasco. Oh, no, we were just playing with Labasco. I remember now. Fine. He found it. I didn't find it, so I still don't believe it.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Labasco. Okay. But
Either way,
so I was more like 55-45. I wasn't 3-0. Like I thought it'd be like a 3-1, a 3-2. Like I just didn't know what XC was gonna bring without his, because I mean he's like Paris has been carried on the back of that McCree. I mean, he's been fantastic. And so I just thought the Outlaws were gonna win,
well,
but I thought they were gonna screech it out. But instead, they go 3-0, and it wasn't even a close 3-0. It was a stomping.
it was beautiful, is what it was. Let's be real. I
Oh,
feel
man.
like we saw what Paris could do day 2 against Fusion, right? Paris came out against the Outlaws like they had no idea what game they were playing. And I'm not taking it away from the Outlaws, obviously, because I think the Outlaws played very, very well. And I don't think Paris was expecting them to play that well. And I think Paris was maybe anticipating that they would play Doom. But we also saw them didn't they take out Soon? Yeah. So in when they were playing Outlaws, they had Soon and Nico in for the first 2 maps. And then they subbed in um Xe for Soon and kept Nico in. And I just feel like they figured out day 2 that put Soon and Xe in and you win, right? Like we weren't playing a comp that Nico could capitalize off of May
Yep.
as much, and I think that they just got outplayed. They got outstratted against the Outlaws. I think the Outlaws came in with a much better plan, and I think they learned from that, and they pulled out a win against Fusion day 2, you know?
Yep. Well, day two is when we were seeing a ton more soldier play, and XZ on the soldier showed that he can play soldier really well too. And at
And some
and
Xe on Hanzo, which looked really good.
yeah, yeah. And Soon, even against the Outlaws, Soon was the only real bright light there. Soon was definitely doing some Soon things on Tracer, and it was weird though to see Dante outplay Soon because I still don't believe that Dante is a better Tracer than Soon is. I'm just not
No, but I
convinced of
think
that
Dante
yet.
was supported better on Tracer with the Outlaws than Soon was. I think that they had practiced the Tracer and they had Tracer Soldier, so Soldier didn't require a lot of resources, and they just helped keep him alive. And I think that that was crucial to their plan, and that allowed Dante to outplay Soon. Now, I do think that Soon in history has been a better Tracer, but we haven't seen Dante on Tracer in a long time, and he killed it.
He
I
did
think
kill it.
it's it's weird to me that Tracer Sombra is the meta lots of times, kind of where we're at right now, and we've been in this situation before where we've got a really good Tracer and Sombra, but they're the same player. It's a problem.
Mhm.
Um, but I thought that Blase, I think we saw him play Tracer, right? This match went really fast, and the stats aren't up yet,
I
so
don't know that I
kind of pulling
saw
from my
I don't know that I saw Blasé on the Tracer.
well, we saw Dante play Sombra.
I don't remember seeing Blasé. Boy,
And
that's
Blase
hard.
could have been on Soldier. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure on
He did Farah a little bit too.
did we do Farah? Oh wow, yeah, Jexay was on Mercy. Yeah. So overall, I think that it was a good look for Houston, and it was a really bad look for Paris. I think Paris came in with a strat that was not up to snuff, and I think that Houston got lucky with the strat being something they're already very strong at.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I think that it just threw me off because I really was expecting Turtle to be a little better than that. Now I get that Ben Best also was unable to play Ryan, and he's been fantastic on Ryan throughout the first 4 weeks. So that could have played something into it also.
But you
Changing,
look at their day 2, like, you can't say that they just weren't a good team in this hero pool because they were.
yeah.
We saw him kill it on day 2.
I think you're hitting it a lot more on the head with the Soon and XZ playing at the same time.
Yeah. And their comp switched up, right? That allowed them to play the Sombra Tracer, the Tracer Soldier, the Hanzo Tracer. Like, they were able to play a lot different. And I don't know what Nico plays. I feel like I've only seen him on May. I'm sure he plays other things,
Yeah, I think
but
last year, God, I've tried to push goats out of my memory. But do you want to talk about Uprising? I mean, it's awesome that they won, but Uprising is just not giving good looks week after week.
I don't understand the Sigma. I don't get it. There's a limit to playing your strengths. when it just doesn't work over and over and over again. But I feel like what's up with Boston always playing the home team? Can we talk about that for a second? Like, why does the home team always get to play Boston? Were they putting together schedules and they were like, come on, guys, we got
I
to get
didn't
some
even
home match wins. You got
I,
to give me Boston,
I didn't
right?
even
Like,
think about
Boston plays
that.
the home team almost every week,
I didn't
except for
even think about
Washington's
that.
last homestand, right? Like,
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's nutty. I'm like, what is happening? Poor Boston. I don't think that's why they're failing. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad Washington got to play Boston so that they could get a win at home. That's about all I have to say about that match.
All right, cool. So the Eternal take on the Fusion, and the first takeaway I took from this was match one. And EQO comes out, and I'm like, yes! Wait! Oh no!
EQO
Literally
cannot
still
escape
stuck.
Brig Jail.
Still stuck in Brick Jail. Unfreaking real.
So sad. Like, and his face was like, like, what's happening? Like
Oh,
that. I feel like just morally, you shouldn't have done that to him, Fusion. That was just wrong. I also feel like Fusion, what are you doing? Like, you have EQO, who I think is a better soldier than Ivy. I don't understand
yeah.
their reluctance to put EQO in over Ivy
I have
ever.
no idea. Like, I do think EQO's May is not very good, but if you guys don't remember, like, he used Soldier in the win against the NYX XXL in NYXL's first loss in Overwatch history. So Overwatch League history. And he plays an amazing Genji. He plays a lot of stuff really well. He plays a great Pharah. He plays tons. Why are we putting him back on Brig? He didn't even perform that well on Brig in Goats.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was very baffling to me, but
and I'm not so sure Brig outplays Tracer anymore because Tracer's just they build up their ult so quick, and we saw Tracers were just moving in on Briggs first and just sticking them, and
right. Well, I think what's funny is that it used to be you couldn't play, and I think the casters or the desk was saying that you couldn't play Brig or you couldn't play Tracer when there was a Brig. And now it's like you can't play Tracer unless you have a Brig because the armor that Brig gives you makes it so that you can go in and be a lot more survivable, right? And so you put the Brig and a Zen, and you've got a Harmony Orb and the armor, and you're basically unstoppable, right? And I think that that's what people were finding out, but I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. It's just the Brig is used in some really cool ways too now, though. Like the pros are using her to put armor packs on DPS that are squishy, making them a lot harder to just pick off easy.
That's
And
legit what I just said. Did you not listen to me?
no, I heard something about Zen and the Harmony Orb. Oh, you were talking I thought you were
Oh
talking
my
about
god.
on each other, like her putting the pack on Zen and Zen putting the orb on her. But you were talking about
No.
them both putting it on a DPS.
Yeah, both putting it
Okay,
on
sorry,
Tracer
sorry.
usually,
So
making Tracer much more sustainable.
also McCree too. I mean, they
Right.
were doing that with McCree before he was banned.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was I thought it was pretty good that Soon and Poco had a bet, and now Poco has to grow a mustache, which he's one of the few people I know that actually pulls it off okay. Like, it's just a single
That's
mustache is
not true.
hard.
He does not. He
I,
does not pull it off. Nobody pulls it off.
I think Soon would have had a tougher time pulling it off. It would have been
That's
funnier.
very true. Very true. But I think what I enjoyed most about this match was seeing Paris modify their strat for day 2. And they were the
Mhm.
first game of day 2. And so seeing that they can rally as a team and come out with something completely different, I doubt that they practiced both of these strats all week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a good it was a good pivot, it was a good audible.
Yeah. So
What about NYXL Justice?
NYXL looked really strong,
Is
and
is SBB washed up even on Tracer?
no,
It's starting to
I don't
feel
think
like
so.
that.
I think SVB plays a different style of Tracer, and I think that he came out trying to play the same style of Tracer that he did play, and I think in this meta, it's just different, right? You have to play Tracer a little bit differently, and you see the Tracers don't get into 1v1s as frequently. They're going for different targets now than they used to. I don't know, I feel like it's just a little bit different of a look for Tracer, and his mindset, I think, went just right back to how he used to play Tracer.
No, I think he was even a weird Tracer before because he was one that would take the Tracer v Tracer duels on quite often and win the majority of the
Right.
time. And I just don't I haven't seen I haven't seen him play any other character really to like a pro status. Like his McCree has left me wanting all season so far and kind of bums me out, but he might be washed up. He might just be done.
I don't know. I think it's a little early to say that,
Well, I've
but
been saying it since I've been seeing him in anytime he was in season 2 and this entire start of season 1. So it's
did he
not like
play
I
at all in
just
season 2 until stage 4?
stage 4, yep.
Yeah. We didn't see him until stage 4 though. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but that's what I'm talking
We'll
about.
see.
It's
I
still
think
many,
Nene
many
Nene
weeks.
looked stronger
It did.
and they won after Nene came in, and that makes me sad, but it was also control, so it was different too.
Yeah.
So, I
Con-
don't know.
control's hard to judge, but usually that's where he used to just thrive and I just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it looks like he might just be a little washed up.
NYXL though, with Nene and looked very clean. It was impressive, their synergy.
Yeah. What about the rain versus the uprising? The rain just styled on him.
I
And
legit blinked and missed this game, so
oh man.
I I don't even know when it
Yeah,
happened.
it was pretty quick. The rain just kind of styled on him. Jake kind of gave Boston a little crap. He said something like people who are really knowledgeable about the game didn't think Pharaoh would be a problem. And I thought to myself, well, that's a little unfair, Jake. We're talking about color hexes, Farah, a middle of the road player on that hero, and maybe arguably all the heroes he plays against an unbelievable diva player. And the only time that Hawk was actually taking the Pharah out was when he was getting nano boosted. So I mean, they were using nano on it, and so
Yeah,
I
but he
don't
just made
know.
the Pharah completely ineffective. I
Yes,
mean, Pharah was, like, at a
but I mean,
range where she could barely even shoot anybody,
can
and
all of them do that though? My whole point was he was making a point out of two very different players, and one player was definitely outstyled. Now, do I think that the Pharah is a really good uh like a really good strat? I don't know that that's true. I just know that there was opportunity to play her this week, and some people did.
some people did. I think it depends on the map, and it depends on, what composition you're going against, but I also think that they didn't switch quick enough even when it didn't work. And I'm still gonna harp on the fact that they still tried to run Sigma. Like, is Mufin just a really bad diva? Is that what we're dealing with here? Like, what
I just
is
don't know. Yeah,
happening?
I don't know too much about him, but it's possible. I mean, he is a you know a he is a pickup this year. It's possible he got picked up during the Sigma meta when Sigma was God.
Okay, well, have they not figured out yet that Sigma is not God?
Yeah, but how are you gonna they're getting trounced. They feel like they can't win. I feel like and I'm speculating, but I feel like Mufin just wants to be like, "Look, guys, I could show you this works," type of thing.
Right.
and I think it's just failing. And
Okay,
I
well, how many weeks do you give him to try to show his that's what I wanna know. It's like, how many chances are we giving Mufin to show us Sigma doesn't work? Like, it just hasn't worked, and I until they ban D.Va, it's not gonna work because 'cause you're just gonna play D.Va because she's a better hero right now, and they're just coming out with okay, to be fair, if they were coming out with weird strats and they were working even slightly, we'd be like, "I love the creativity," right? But they're coming out with weird strats and failing
Well, and then
miserably every game.
I'm thinking about Ike. Okay, Ike involved attack. Boston comes out with the pharmacy, and they literally just wait for Color Hex to finally get an ult. They've wasted like a minute of attack time, right?
Yeah.
And then Farah goes and gets trapped in the back behind the team by just Hawk. And then Hawk is about to take him out, and instead of just dying and saving the ult and just resetting, Color Hex ults on him. And I mean, there's no excuse for it. There's just I don't know if he thought he was out of defense matrix, but they're just playing poorly.
Yeah. Well, and they were sitting there waiting for Farah to get a pick to move in, but they weren't putting nearly enough pressure on the front to allow him even a little bit of opportunity to get in there.
Yeah.
And he's just shooting into the defense matrix or shooting from a distance that
And
everybody
everybody's
can
just looking up at him
see
and
this
like
projectile coming from like 10 minutes and they're like, "Oh, I'll just step over here because it can't hit me," right? Like
yeah, pharmacy works because
you
people
just
are looking up and down and not being
right.
able to look at both
It
at the
doesn't
same
work if
time.
you're just standing there not doing anything.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, it was poorly executed. Their whole team play looks very discombobulated. They don't ever look like they're on the same page. Their ult usage is horrendous. There's not a lot positive about Boston right now.
Yeah. Well,
So
something that could be positive for Boston if they play next week. I don't know if they do or not. But if they play
they
next
do.
week,
They play the
Reinhardt's
home team,
back.
just so you know.
Again with the home team.
I'm serious.
So Reinhardt's back, so that might help him. Going into week 6, we do have the bans. We have Soldier 76 is banned. You got
Poor
1 week,
Lick,
bro. 1 week.
man. And he
Ugh.
was banned like 7 times.
Dude, all I could think about when I was watching, I was like, "Oh my gosh," because I've been thinking about AKM a lot, with the current possible changes coming to the game with the Helix rockets, and AKM is an incredible tracker, but he excels at the rockets. So I was like, "Ooh, could that bring Soldier back in the meta? Maybe my boy gets some playtime." And then I saw this week, and all I could think of is, "Man, why isn't Dylan playing this week?"
He even tweeted, he's like,
I know.
"Man."
I saw that. I was just like, dude, damn it.
Poor him.
Yeah, because I mean, he's a
Poor
monster
Soldier.
at it.
Let's be real though here.
Yeah,
Come
true.
on, Sideshow. Soldier,
Yeah,
just
sideshow.
he had his only chance.
Oh, first it was Mr. X that ruined Overwatch League, and now sideshow ruins Overwatch
I
League. But
know.
the other
Can I
DPS.
tell you my favorite comment about that?
Oh, go ahead.
Somebody on Twitter commented, well, Sideshow and who else was Sideshow and Hex banned from casting next week. I'm really excited to see how the casting meta plays out with these unexpected bans.
That is pretty good. I did not
That
see
was
that.
epic.
That is
I was like,
really
oh
good.
god.
Yeah, and Oliver J in the chat points out that he got Soldier 3 times. Now,
Yeah, he was really
I did
determined to
wonder
ban
though,
Soldier.
that second Soldier poll, Zoe didn't show us. She just put it down under the desk, and I was like, "Oh, you got to remember to show that." But I didn't forget to change the slides, so I could see how you'd forget something like that.
Sometimes you do, yeah.
Oh man, but Sombra is banned, which sucks. Like I
Yeah.
really hate the bans this week. I hate it. Sombra's banned, which really, Sombra, Winston's banned, Lucio's banned, like Dive, I don't think is going to be a thing at all this week.
That's okay. Houston doesn't play, so I'm fine with these bans.
I mean, if you really wanted to like try something crazy, and I wish, not Shanghai, but Chenny's team plays crazy threats. Help me out.
Chengdu?
Chengdu. I really wish Chengdu played this week because I really think you could make a ball diva thing work and not have the speed, the speed boost.
I don't think you can make ball work with May and McCree in the meta or in the pool. I think you get McCree's flashbang and you get May's freeze and slow, and your mobility is out the window.
I think you could make it work with with like a Tracer,
I mean, Amon might
Genji,
be able to make it work, but
and then like you get Mora who can get out of stuff on her own.
I'm just
I just
saying,
don't know that the
Wrecking
Ana'd be in
Ball's
trouble though.
Wrecking Ball's viability goes way down with McCree and May.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
somebody's playing McCree and May against Wrecking Ball,
Wrecking
they're
Ball. And the thing is though, is that Chengdu is the only ones that actually play the Wrecking Ball where Hammond looks fluid. So if you watch some of the best, you know, pros, at least the ones that people say are the best playing Wrecking Ball, it's not fluid. There's lots of times they get hung up on a corner, they get stuck here. They have to really set up their stuff where Amang just rolls through like he's playing a NASCAR racing game.
right.
Like, or more like a Indy 500 race because
That's
he's
because
just
he got to
all over the
practice all
place.
year last year when everybody else was playing goats. He was just playing Wrecking Ball, practicing his Wrecking Ball.
Well, I mean, and it's a beautiful thing to watch because just like anybody who hasn't paid attention to that, when ball comes out, just watch. They get stuck on so many different things, and when Amang plays it, dude, it's just like swings in, hits this dude, goes right out the door, doesn't hit the corner. Like, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Twisted Metal, that's a perfect example too. For
Misfit said Mayhem is gonna excel without Lucio. I know Chris is sitting there like, yes,
it's just
finally. It's for
it's
their homestand. It was just to give him a little bit of oomph.
it just feels like without Lucio, I mean, you don't have to play Lucio. We've seen plenty of times Lucio doesn't have to play, but boy, you need to play him a lot to make a lot of strats work. And there's no one else that gives speed in the game. And that's,
I
I think,
feel
been
like
always the
Lucio's
problem with Lucio.
right. I feel like Lucio's more necessary with the Rhine meta than we saw him a lot less with the dive meta. We saw a lot of Brig, Zen, Brig, Anna.
Yeah,
And
with
we
the
didn't
dive meta that came out with the Overwatch League, it was definitely Lucio Zen before that, though.
no, I'm saying with the dive meta that came last week
Oh, yes,
or
yes,
this
yes.
past weekend.
Yes.
Before that, yes, it was Lucio, but remember before that, it was Lucio with the like 85-yard aura that covered like the entire map, right? Like now Lucio has to be closer to his teammates, and if they're all diving around, yes, he's still very valuable in dive because of his mobility and because of his ability to get everywhere. But it will be interesting to see if it hinders the Rhine play. I mean, because it's hard to play Ryan without a Lucio, but I guess if the other team doesn't have a Lucio either, maybe it's not as horrible. I don't know.
I feel like it's going to be very bunkery with who has been banned. You're going to protect the McCree a lot.
I mean, are we just going to see what we saw last week, or or the week before last week with McCree and May and Ryan and Diva and
I think we will, but
Anna and
instead
Brig?
of yeah, but instead of seeing we used with that meta, a few weeks before we were seeing a rotation, but we were seeing mostly Luciana, and then
Yeah,
sometimes they would go Brig when needed, when defending a point. You're basically gonna have if it's bunker v bunker and both teams are using Brig, it kind of really negates her power of stopping flankers and things of that nature. So it's gonna be a slow week. It's gonna be a really slow week.
it'll be interesting to see what happens with that Lucio. But Loki said he thinks it'll be May versus Sigma, and I swear to God, Loki, we just had a whole conversation about why Sigma is not better than Diva. But hey, maybe, maybe Boston will.
Yeah,
Maybe this is their week.
the biggest problem with Sigma is that just the nerfs just killed him. I mean, he's like Anna's able to like sleep him now. I mean, if an Anna's in the game, your ult's just not going to get any use. Now, I think the balance changes that are going in, possibly going into the regular game, might be changing that soon because Sigma's going to be able to move a lot faster during his ultimate. But for right now, Sigma's just not the play.
I mean, we could be wrong next week. We'll see.
Yeah, I just really don't believe that he's a. I think he's a D or an F tier hero at the moment with the changes they have made to him. But you know, he was too good before, so I don't know.
Happy medium.
Oh, OT Misfit gives a good point. Sim might be something that's used quite a bit without Lucio, just for the the mobility and quickness to the point.
On control, yeah, probably, but
I mean, on any map, it still gives you that fast move in, past choke type of play style that Lucio allows for.
maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, well, I'm not very happy. I was happier with last week's bans. Not extremely happy with this week's, but I just wanted
It's only
May.
a
I
week.
just wanted May to be banned once. I just don't like her. Just I don't want any teams to play her, and I thought that most of the teams that played her this last week, it didn't work well, and it made the games a little bit more boring. So I
Well,
just wanted her to be banned. That's all.
I know. We'll
Oh,
have somebody else try it next week.
something something someone else suggested was the cards, having more cards, like having one card per 10% play. So if you
Right.
got a 10%er, they get one card in the drawing. And then 80% player, they have 8 cards in the drawing. A 40% player has 4 cards. I thought that was something you might look into.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent idea. I just think right now,
Yeah, I want to try it right now and just see where this
I feel
goes.
like it's too soon to make changes. And in addition, it's like we see that banning one hero from the so-called meta, or two heroes, I guess we had Ryan and McCree were banned, but May wasn't. And we still saw a completely different meta, right? And I think now we can't have Winston, so we're gonna see a different meta. I don't like Sombra, but oh well. I just think it makes it a little bit less predictable if you don't do that. And I think having it be predictable is not great.
See, what I would have loved to see is McCree band, Sombra band. I mean, I know this couldn't happen, but this would be like what I'd love to see. McCree band, Sombra band, uh, Reinhardt band, and Brigitte band. And then I might get to see some freaking Genji play. I
Poor
might-
Genji.
but so okay. So what do we think? Uh, what do we think is going to happen with the teams? We're running a little bit long. You want to go ahead with our predictions for next week?
Sure.
All right, Rain versus NYXL.
This is gonna be a match. I feel like this is gonna be a really good one. It's also the first game of the new hero pools, so we'll see who brings it out. I wanna give the slight advantage to Atlanta Rain because I think they're more creative. I think NYXL usually takes a little bit longer to get solidified into a meta. Now, they do have more, they're not the NYXL of old completely, so maybe they'll do a little bit better, but I think Rain has a slight minute advantage here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Rain too. I'm curious now that Brian's back, will Pokepo be back in, or will they continue with Gator and Hawk as the two tanks? I'm interested to see what happens there. I'm also interested to see if they keep trying S SBB or if Nene just basically takes that over.
Yeah, I mean, it'll depend on what they're playing, I think, too, and I think the synergy between Gator and Hawk is really good, and I think it would not benefit them as much to take Gator out right now.
So who'd you guess?
I guess Rain.
Rain. I'm gonna go with Rain too. I know it's gonna bite me because New York just always finds a way to win somehow, even though
It'll be a
not looking
really
as
good
good.
matchup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Fusion versus Spitfire.
I think I have to go with Fusion here.
I think I have to also. I think they come back angry and ready for a win. And Spitfire looks to be like they could be pretty good. I still just don't know enough yet, and they've just been kind of like
I
good
take it
this
back.
week,
I'm gonna
bad
take
this week.
NYXL over the Rain.
Are you?
Yeah, I remember how the Rain did not look very hot on the McCree meta before last week. So
Baby Bay looked pretty good on it. He just looked good on one day and bad on the next.
no, they didn't play much of the McCree meta the first day, and didn't they play like Boston or somebody stupid?
They
Okay.
played Defiant and they made him look stupid, bringing out the Torbjorn.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
the hammer and
Okay.
the
I'm
nail.
gonna go NYXL Fusion.
Build 'em up, break 'em down. I can't stop
Yeah,
myself once I start going. Okay, so who and we both picked Fusion over Spitfire. What about Mayhem Eternal?
I'm gonna go with Eternal. Sorry, Mayhem.
Heck yeah, dude. McCree's back. XZ's gonna tear it up. Gonna go with Eternal also. At least we have one different pick with you changing to NYXL. What about Justice versus Defiant?
I honestly think this will be a pretty good match. I think I have to go with Justice. I think Justice will pull this one out over Defiant, and Defiant's dive capabilities are really limited, which is what they've been kind of leaning on.
Yeah, I mean, like McCree's back, Corey's back, and yeah, I think I have to go with Justice also. And Defiant just keeps just not quite getting there, and Justice. I don't know. I think it's gonna be close though. I don't think it's
Yeah, I do too.
I think that's a very possible 3-2 matchup. So if you're got any of them in fantasy, it might be a good one to pick because it might be a longer game.
True.
What about Rain versus Spitfire?
I think the Rain will take that one. Spitfire has moments where they just kill people, so there's definitely potential, but I think Atlanta is a stronger team.
I do too, but I think they're gonna prepare more for NYXL, and I think they're gonna come out hot the first day, and I think they're gonna lose to the Spitfire the second day. I think it's gonna be a weird one. But if they come out on all cylinders, then because we've seen like when they play one game, they play well. So
Yeah.
so we'll just have to see there. But I'm gonna go with the Spitfire. What about Mayhem versus Justice?
Oh, Mayhem versus
Sorry,
Uprising.
Mayhem versus Uprising.
Or Uprising. I'm gonna go Mayhem.
Yeah,
Mayhem needs a home win.
yeah,
That's
it's
why they're playing you.
their last home game of the week. I think you've got to be right. I think Mayhem takes that with ease, and I just feel bad for Boston.
It's true. Sorry, Boston.
Was there anything we didn't touch on that you wanted to touch on before we wrap it up?
Nope. That's it.
That's it. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank Chat for coming in, helping us out, giving us some tidbits of information and some good ideas. If you want to get a hold of us, you can follow us on Twitter at OwlRecap. If you want to write us an email, it's contact@owlrecap.com. If you want to check us out on Twitch live, we do it Monday nights. Follow us on Twitter to see what time we go live. It's twitch.tv/OurRecap. We've been asked recently by a couple people actually that want us to stream during the games. It sounds fun, but I just worried because we have so few people that actually show up live. I wonder if it would be content people would actually like. Our listener base is vastly audio. That's where the majority of people take this in, and I mean it's by a landslide. So I just don't know if it'd be great content, but I am willing to try it. I'm going to try to get it set up this weekend, maybe on Saturday for 2 or 3 of the games. If not, I'll figure it out by the next weekend, but there's some logistics I got to get through and like figure out how to put the timer on, how to still watch it on our TV and stream at the same time. So there's some stuff I got to work through. I'm going to try for this week. That's
And
twitch.tv.
that makes it so that I have to get out of my pajamas, guys.
I
It's a
know.
lot to ask.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
just throwing that out there.
Yeah, like I usually watch it in my underwear, my robe, at least for the first couple games, and then I'll like, slowly get ready during breaks and stuff like that. So it
And I
will be a
can't do it
little
with the Outlaws games, guys. It's too stressful usually.
it will be a little
You'll just
extra
see me like
work.
this.
It would definitely be something I could do easy if Mel was out of town. She goes out of town on weekends at times, and it's something I could do easy then because it would just be me in front of my computer, and it'd be a
Yeah,
lot
people don't want to
easier.
hear just you bias talk. Get
Yep,
out of
and
here.
see, so another reason it might not be that exciting, but I'm definitely down to do it. I mean, we talk about the games throughout quite a bit, and there's many moments that were probably pretty entertaining where we're like, oh yeah, and it's just kind of exciting. So I mean, we'll give it a shot, but I don't know that we'll keep it going if it isn't popular. All right. Please leave us reviews. iTunes reviews are just basically dead at the moment. You can do it really easy on your phone. You just go to the podcast, and it should be, if you scroll down a bit, it should be able to just give it stars or leave a review. Be nice to hear from you. If you want to join our Discord, it's discord.me/OmnicLab. We run game nights every month at the end of the month. This game night is going to be on the 27th, and you should definitely join to come for that. And there's tons of Overwatch and Overwatch League conversation going on. We'd love to have you in there. I think that's it. Oh, yeah. Follow us or subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, hit that bell. All right, we're going to get out of here. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch.
And you can find me on Twitter at Blazzin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next week.